Right now, an intrusion of magma is ongoing at a well-known volcano in Oregon. This is occurring approximately 26 miles west of the city of Bend, where, at a section of the Three Sisters volcano, molten rock is accumulating underground at a depth of 6 kilometers or 4 miles. As a result, the magma has pushed upwards overlying ground through displacement, resulting in the ground rising by approximately 12 inches or 30 centimeters since it began. Yet, it is not a completely new phenomena, with ongoing, albeit variable uplift being detected since 1995, with the current rate of uplift being lower than it was in prior years. Since then, approximately 100 million cubic meters of magma has accumulated underground, presumably with a basaltic composition. This composition is somewhat of a good news, as basaltic eruptions at Three Sisters, which has produced everything from basalt to rhyolite, tend to result in the least explosive of eruptions. So, is a basaltic cinder cone forming eruption in the near future of this volcano? While technically possible, it is probably not. About 3 million cubic meters of magma intrudes underneath the aforementioned spot every year, but since it was first detected, it has not progressed any further upwards. And, based on the elevated detection of chloride ions in the streams around the uplift center, it suggests that repeated intrusions have likely been occurring in the same area, albeit previously undetected for at least the last several hundred years. Since no eruptions occurred during that time span, the Three Sisters complex is unlikely to erupt during the current intrusion. Besides, to reach a volume of equal to the amount of magma involved in its last eruption would take another 51 years at this rate. As the name of this highly scenic active volcano implies, the Three Sisters complex comprises 3 separate stratovolcanoes of differing ages, which formed from overlapping layers of lava and ash in place during explosive eruptions. There is the basaltic andesite composition North Sister, which is 120,000 to 55,000 years old, the basaltic andesite to dacite Middle Sister, which is 40,000 to 14,000 years old, and the andesite to rhyolite South Sister, which is 50,000 to 2,000 years old. These medium-sized stratovolcanoes each produce numerous explosive eruptions during their lifespans, yet a true eruption from any of their summits has not occurred in a whopping 19,000 years. Instead, in the time since, every single eruption has occurred further down the flanks of, or even outside of the edifice of each stratovolcano. In the Holocene epoch, this has occurred both north and west of the North Sister and south and southeast of the South Sister. These eruptions had differing levels of explosiveness, and their lava flows had varying compositions and thicknesses. The last such eruption occurred around the year 500, emplacing an andesite lava flow which covered an area of 3.75 square miles and a moderately explosive eruption. While this more common cinder cone forming eruption produced moderate ashfall and forest fires, a second common type of eruption at this complex produces dacite and rhyolite lava domes in highly explosive eruptions. These latter eruptions frequently generate destructive pyrocaustic flows, large explosions, heavy ashfall, and lahars. Since any future eruption will be likely to disrupt regional air traffic, and since approximately 7,700 people live in lahar hazard zones of this volcano, it should come as no surprise that Three Sisters is classified as a very high-threat volcano. With 7 eruptions in the Holocene epoch and a similar number of eruptions in the prior 10,000 years, it is safe to say that the Three Sisters complex erupts about once every 1,500 years on average. And now, I want to highlight a few interesting eruptions from this complex. One notable eruption which occurred 38,000 years ago west of the North Sister and placed large amounts of obsidian that were later used by several groups of Native Americans. At the Middle Sister, its last eruption 14,000 years ago emplaced this thick dacite lava flow easily visible on the ground. North of the North Sister, a near-perfect north-to-south chain of eruptions emplaced more than a dozen cinder cones and craters between 60,000 and 20,000 years ago. Finally, on the southern outskirts of the South Sister, a major explosive eruption that rated on the Volcanic Explosivity Index as a 4, or about 1/10 the size of the 1980 eruption of Mount St. Helens, and placed a large and an up to 650-foot thick rhyolite lava flow. As a final note, I would like to thank this channel's patrons on Patreon and channel members on YouTube.